drop inbound. You got gas inbound. Safe zone relocated. One supply box down. 2 remain. Gas is closing in. One supply box remaining. Move and secure that daggone thing. All supply boxes secure. Contract complete.
The fuck is this shit?
Supply box is located. Move to secure. Gas is closing in. Get to the new safe zone. Supply box secured. Move on to the next one. Gas is inbound. Two supply boxes down, one to go. Contract complete. All supply boxes found. Friendly buy station deployed. Deployable buy stations ready. Gas is closing in. Relocating the safe zone. You have a buy station inbound. You got gas moving in. Friendly buy station is ready. Secure the supply boxes. Locations are marked on your TAC map. Supply box secured. 2 to go. Friendly buy station inbound. Location marked. Gas is moving in. New safe zone located. The Gulag's locked down. Area is clear. Deployable buy station is available. Loadout drop headed your way. Two supply boxes secured, 1 remaining. You're losing ground. Move it. Only 10 left. Contract complete. All supply boxes secured.
Copy. Counter UAV is blocking enemy recon.
Only 10 were left. They hit us hard that time. Let's regroup and get back out there, yep?
Bullshit! Turn it up full blast. Give her. Give her.
Our universe is a constant exchange of energy. Without us, our universe will fall into darkness. All life will die.
Every step you took to get here. Hey, they were you. You just woke up.
Welcome back, everyone. This is my Eternals video about Kang, He Who Remains versus the Celestials, and why he didn't stop the Celestials. The true history of the main MCU Marvel Universe, and not the lies that Harrison the Judge told everyone. And how that connects with what's going on with the Kang multiverse war. Really big cosmic concepts. So if you're new to the channel, I do Marvel videos every week. Be sure to subscribe to get everything. But during the Eternals movie, they revealed the Celestials as the true apex predators of the main MCU universe, even though Kang, or He Who Remains, however you want to think about him, has been controlling all of the timeline from beginning to end, pulling everyone's strings, both ground-level humans, cosmic beings alike, as if they're his own personal toys. Marching to the beat of his drum, lest they all be deleted from existence by the TVA. During the movie, we learn a lot of the history of the universe that the Eternals thought to be true was just a lie told to them by Arishem the Judge, and even after Cersei learns the truth about their existence and the emergence with Tiamat on Earth, she doesn't learn the entire truth. Like, Arishem tells her this big story about the history of creation, but even that story is not 100% true. So if he's been lying to all the different groups of Eternals around the universe this whole time for millions and billions of years, why didn't He Who Remains step in to make adjustments to the Celestials? Why did he just let them continue doing what they've been doing this whole time? Lying to everyone and using all these lesser life forms like humans and other planets like cattle to grow more Celestials? Because He Who Remains started out as Nathaniel Richards, just a normal person living on a future version of Earth. And the answer is actually similar to the question of why didn't Kang stop Thanos from snapping half of all life in the universe? Why didn't the TVA arrest the Avengers if they were manipulating the timeline so much with the Infinity Stones in the quantum realm? It's partially because the Celestials do serve an important cosmic purpose. They're not lying about that part of their mission. Even if Harrison the Judge is lying about exactly what they're doing and why they're doing it, and lying about his own origins to boot. What he tells Cersei is that he predates the Big Bang. He was created in the void of chaos that existed before the universe formed. Like, he claims that he created the very first sun in the very first galaxy. During the Loki series, if you're looking at the main MCU timeline here, like at the beginning of the episode, the sacred timeline, this point here, we see a speed run version of the timeline from start to finish. Like, it zooms out as the universe expands after a Big Bang. Then you see the universe contract again and go through another Big Bang cycle. Arishem the Judge is claiming that he comes from this brief period between Big Bang cycles, where all of reality is just black nothingness. There's no multiverse, nothing in existence. But the Dark Elves, we know, also come from this point in history, from the Thor movies. There are also other beings like Galactus, who predate the current MCU universe. He was like another version of He Who Remains type of character. He was a scientist who just lived at the very end of his universe's timeline and wound up surviving through another Big Bang cycle. My early theory is that we actually see his spaceship at the end of his timeline during the Loki series in this intro here. Like, you see the spaceship come towards frame. Nobody was sure quite what it was. I think it belongs to Galen of Ptah, and he's witnessing the end of his universe because we're witnessing a Big Bang cycle, and that's basically a version of his comic book origin. So when Arishem the Judge is telling Cersei about his backstory, he's lying by omission. Like, there's a lot of other stuff that he's leaving out here from his creation. He's not telling her about the Dark Elves, the other creatures that existed with him in this void of chaos before the Big Bang. And he's also not telling her about the cosmic being that created him, Eternity, which is the living embodiment of the universe. Eternity really doesn't get involved in the day-to-day affairs of lower life forms like humans or even the gods like Thor, Odin, Hela. Eternity doesn't even get involved with beings like Kang the Conqueror in all his variants when they go around during the Kang Multiverse War, destroying entire timelines, entire universes. But here's where you start to see the cracks in Arishem the Judge's story, because Eternity is supposed to be born with the Big Bang. So each universe is born with the Big Bang. Eternity is the living embodiment of the universe, so its birth is the Big Bang. And its first act is to create the Celestials and task them with the mission that Arishem the Judge explains to Cersei. So Arishem is not lying about their purpose of creating new suns, new galaxies to help the universe grow and continue existing, because when the universe dies, its eventual heat death, it means eternity would die too. So eternity isn't some benevolent god. It created the Celestials to effectively help it live longer. It's an act of self-preservation. So the joke here is that the Celestials lied to the Eternals about their true purpose, but Arishem the Judge and the other Celestials were also kind of lied to by Eternity. During the movie, they make this metaphor about apex predators, and at first Cersei is referring to the deviants in the Eternals, like she thinks of them, the Eternals, as the true apex predators on the planet, but the movie reveals that the Celestials are like the actual apex predators of the universe, because we're all just their food source. But zoom out one more step, and you realize the joke is the Celestials are just slaves to Eternity, and Eternity is the true apex predator here. It's just that Eternity doesn't really care what happens as long as the Celestials just keep doing what they're supposed to be doing, creating new galaxies. Bringing it back around to Kang the Conqueror and all of his variants, though, like He Who Remains, if they're meant to be so powerful that they can control all the timelines in all their universes with surgical precision, they're far more of a threat than the Celestials. So why then did He Who Remains not intervene with the Celestials? The real reason is because He Who Remains needs the Celestials to help the universe continue expanding, growing with more life, because if they don't do that in the past, like at the dawn of the universe, the Celestials won't wind up eventually sending Eternals to Earth, who then won't wind up influencing the evolution of humanity the way they did during this movie. And further forward into the distant future, eventually, He Who Remains would not be born and become who he's meant to be. So he needs the Celestials to do everything that they've been doing so that he can become who he's meant to be, and eventually win the Kang Multiverse War. So that's why he doesn't care about the Celestials wiping out entire planets. That whole conversation they have in the Loki finale where he says, "You came to kill the devil, but I keep you safe. You think I'm bad? Wait till you meet my variants."
If you think I'm evil, just wait till you meet my baby.
So the TLDR is that if they got rid of the Celestials before he was born, it would mean the end of all reality in the main MCU universe, because he wouldn't be able to win the Kang Multiverse War. It's very similar to the reason why He Who Remains didn't stop Thanos from snapping half of all life, and the reason why he didn't have the TVA arrest the Avengers during Endgame, because he needed the timeline to play out in a very specific way, and a lot of these cataclysmic events had to happen so that he could eventually be born and become He Who Remains. But here's the thing, as bad as the Celestials seem, when Loki and Sylvie visit his citadel at the end of time, the literal endpoint of the main MCU timeline, the sacred timeline, however you want to think about it, just before everything restarts with another Big Bang cycle, like the timeline starts over again, in this space, he is literally the last remaining living being. That's why he's called He Who Remains. He's the only one who remains. At this point in the timeline, there are no more Celestials, no gods, no other cosmic beings like Galactus, so eventually the Celestials will be killed off. And remember, Arishem tells Cersei that if they stopped what they were doing, creating new Celestials cold turkey right now, the
Why did the
universe would
Wraith
begin
get in there?
slowly dying its heat death. But anyone who paid attention in grade school science would know the Earth's sun has about 10 billion years before it dies. So the sole galaxy
get
alone,
it.
like the main MCU galaxy that we spend most of our time in with all
What
the
the
main
fuck?
characters, has 10 billion years before it theoretically dies. Good long while. We got a hot minute before they're going to turn the lights off. So really, are the Celestials that necessary? I think only in so much as they're useful to the cosmic being Eternity in helping it stay alive longer by creating more galaxies. They don't get into this idea during the movie, but the idea is that the larger the universe grows, the more life, the more powerful Eternity becomes. So you can also argue Eternity only created the Celestials to help keep it in power or make it more powerful. The only real threat to Eternity, its only real natural predator, would be like the other Cosmos who came before, or potentially alternate universe Eternities. There was a plot like that in the comics a while ago, where the first version of the universe, the first timeline, the first Cosmos, comes back as a villain and chains Eternity up. If it
Never
wasn't
give up
here,
on
the
yourself.
cosmos
Remember
are like the
this.
boss level
Those
upgrade
who are
to
at the top
eternity, the living
will never
embodiment
dish
of the
you,
entire
because there's
multiverse,
always the
whereas
demons
eternity is just
at
the
the
living
bottom.
embodiment of a
This
single
message is for my
universe.
gym
They
crush.
did introduce the concept of the eternity character during Guardians of the Galaxy 2 when Ego the Living Planet is explaining his backstory to Peter Quill.
This eternity.
What was happening in that scene is he was sort of opening his mind in a celestial cosmic way so that he was briefly able to perceive the entire universe, the totality of all existence in the universe. I know there are also a lot of questions about Ego the Living Planet because he calls himself a celestial, but he doesn't look anything like the other celestials. You have to think of him like a rogue celestial who's on a perverse mission of what the celestials are normally supposed to be doing. Arishem the Judge sends celestial seeds out to planets to grow more celestials, make more of them. Ego the Living Planet was kind of doing a version of that, but he was just trying to create more of himself using his seeds. Maybe they'll cover some more of that mythology when they bring the Eternals characters back, either in a sequel or in other space-based cosmic movies. There was a lot of stuff that they did not explain during the first Eternals movie, so I think they're just leaving that for future movies to cover. But hopefully that explains why Kang, or He Who Remains, any version of Kang, needs the Celestials. Not because he likes them or enjoys what they're doing, but because without them, he would not come into existence. If you have any of the big questions about Marvel cosmic history, just write them below in the comments and I'll try to add them to my future videos. There's a bunch of really big stuff coming up. We're going to get Moon Knight episodes really soon too. I'll be doing videos for all those episodes. Click here for that brand new Marvel Moon Knight trailer video, and click here for my Eternals deleted scene with Kit Harington's Black Knight character. Thank you so much for watching. Everyone stay safe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.
Okay,
For your
everyone.
business to succeed, you need to make connections.
I can help you all if you just follow me.
And making connections is easy with SurveyMonkey. Spot trends and influence your whole team to take a more customer-centric approach. Get started at SurveyMonkey.com.
The Marvel Cinematic Universe is a franchise of interconnected movies, shows, and more. In this video, I present to you a complete recap of every single story and event that's taken place in the MCU. This is my biggest video yet, so don't forget to show some support and quickly scroll down, subscribe, turn on notifications, like the video, scroll back up, and please enjoy this mammoth of a video that's taken months to make. Tønsberg, Norway, March 1942. Hydra forces led by a man named Johann Schmidt invade a stone church looking for a cosmic artifact, only told in legend, what's known as the Tesseract, which possesses unforetold powers, the jewel of Odin's treasure room. Johann breaks the obviously fake Tesseract and locates the real Tesseract. He opens the vault and finally possesses the Tesseract, shining bright on his face. Johann kills the church keeper and guard of the Tesseract, and then orders fire on the rest of the village. Elsewhere, a young man named Steve Rogers goes into an enlistment office, trying to join the fight of World War II, and he gets rejected due to a lot of reasons. He later goes to watch a movie, where first plays a war commercial, to which someone yells to hurry up and play the movie, causing Steve to tell them to shut up. The man stands up and faces Steve, and shortly after, he beats Steve in an alley outside. His friend James Bucky Barnes finds him and gets the man to back off, beating him. Steve and Bucky then go to Stark Expo, where Howard Stark appears, showing them the futuristic technology they're dealing with and creating for the world. Although Steve doesn't care much about the future, and only the present, he notices a recruitment office and goes to enlist. Steve and Bucky argue, and a doctor named Abraham Erskine overhears Steve's words, and comes to talk to Steve. Abraham confronts him about his multiple attempts and offers him a chance to join. Meanwhile, Johann and Dr. Zola experiment with the Tesseract. They grab it from its box and put it into Zola's machine. And after what initially seems like a malfunction, they're able to steal energy from it successfully. At training camp, Agent Petty Carter and Chester Phillips oversee their training. Chester talks to them about their job as candidates of Project Rebirth, a super soldier experiment being conducted by the Strategic Scientific Reserve. Steve trains but fails at a lot of things, often falling behind. At about the halfway point of the track, they have to grab the flag on top of the post if they want to ride back instead of running. They all fail, and it's said no one's gotten the flag in 17 years. So they all continue running in formation, but Steve gives it a shot, but in a different way. He deconstructs the post and grabs the flag, getting a ride back with Agent Carter. They continue training, and Chester doesn't believe Steve will be a good candidate, but Abraham thinks quite the opposite. To test, Chester throws a fake grenade to see who has guts, and everyone runs besides Steve, who jumps over the grenade and yells for everyone to get back. He successfully passes the test, and later in the night, Abraham tells Steve he was chosen. Peggy and Steve arrive at a random building in New York, where Peggy speaks the code word, letting both of them into a secret underground facility, where scientists, other agents, and security are walking the halls. They walk to the main base and down to the workers. Steve takes off his shirt and lays on the machine, prepared for the treatment. Howard Stark is also there to help. Abraham speaks to the funders and government as everyone prepares the machine. They take the super soldier serum and Vitarays, stabbing Steve with penicillin. They prepare the serum infusion as the machine begins to power. The serum goes into Steve and he groans. Howard flips a switch which raises the machine and closes Steve in a capsule. Howard then turns the power up to 70%, where Steve begins to groan and shout. Abraham tells Howard to shut it down, but Steve yells, "No, don't, I can do this." So Howard continues raising the power until they reach 100%. The machine lights brighter as everything around seemingly malfunctions. The machine powers down, and Howard unlocks the capsule, revealing a now fully buff and super soldier Steve Rogers. Everyone congratulates each other, but Johan's hired assassin Heinz Kruger is there, who looks around the place before clicking a button which explodes the glass on the second floor. Heinz grabs a jar of the serum and shoots Abraham and other guards. Abraham, however, dies in Steve's arms. Heinz gets in a car and they drive off. Peggy, however, aims carefully and hits the driver directly, crashing the car. Heinz gets out and gets into a taxi where he drives towards Peggy. Steve jumps and pushes her out the way as Heinz drives away. So Steve begins running and rushes down the streets with his new heightened speed and height. Steve catches up to him and jumps on top of the taxi. He stays on until Heinz hits the side of a truck, causing the car to tumble. Heinz gets out of the car and shoots Steve, who uses the taxi door as a shield. Heinz grabs a child and Steve keeps running to him, who Heinz shoots his gun at, only to have no bullets left. So he throws the kid into the water, who tells Steve to keep going. Heinz gets into a submarine, to which Steve jumps down into the water to grab onto, smash the window, and then bring Heinz back up. The serum breaks, but Heinz hails Hydra and immediately commits suicide by cyanide pill before he can be interrogated for information. Back in the facility, they are deciding to take the fight directly to Hydra. Chester is leaving Steve behind, though, as they do tests to try and rediscover Abraham's formula. Senator Brandt, however, offers to tour the nation to promote war donations, acting as an image of the ideal soldier for the public to get behind. He begins performing as the star-strangled character Captain America, recording promotions and going to a multitude of shows. Comic books begin to be sold, his promos begin playing in the movies, and Captain America quickly becomes a star and a symbol of hope for America. In Italy, November 1943, he's booed off stage by the soldiers because they wanted the girls back. But as he relaxes in the rain, Peggy arrives back. After they talk, Steve learns that Bucky's unit was lost in a battle against Hydra, to which Chester thinks Bucky is dead. They aren't going to save the lost because of the fear they'll lose more than save, but Steve goes to save them himself. He puts the suit of Captain America on and gets in the car, but Peggy is able to help further with just words, as she and Howard help him by flying him in a plane. They